Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sets video. Today's video is going to be about one of the cutest rock Pokemon in existence, Corsola. So let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Corsola is a water rock type Pokemon introduced in Generation 2 and possesses 3 unique abilities that are all actually really useful for competitive battles. The first one that Corsola gets is known as Hustle, which is an ability that increases Corsola's physical attack by 1 stage, with the added drawback of having its base accuracy lowered to 80%. And what this means is that if you were to use a 100% accurate move like Earthquake with the Hustle ability, even though you have increased damage on Earthquake because Hustle increases your physical attack, the chance for Earthquake to actually hit your opponent will be lowered to that of 80%. So it is kind of a risk-reward ability, but it can be very useful for allowing Corsola to do a lot of damage from the physical side. As for its next ability, it is known as Natural Cure, which is an amazing ability that allows Corsola to heal its status upon switching out. So for example, if Corsola is put to sleep by sleep powder or something like that, as soon as you switch out, Natural Cure heals your sleep, meaning that the next time you bring Corsola back in, it won't have any status on it, which is really cool. And then the last ability that Corsola gets is its hidden ability, known as Regenerator, which is an excellent defensive ability that allows Corsola to heal 1/3 of its health every single time it switches out from battle. As for its stats, Corsola's defenses are actually pretty great, even though its HP stat is fairly low. So a base 55 HP isn't fantastic, but the 85 defense and 85 special defense does allow Corsola to tank both physical and special hits fairly well. Also, Corsola with the Regenerator ability or even the Natural Cure ability can increase its survivability immensely, and also on top of the fact that it does get the Recover move as well to heal its HP up. So typically you're going to be seeing Corsola be used in some sort of defensive light, or to some extent. But as for its attacking stats, Corsola only has a base 55 physical attack, which is fairly low. However, because of Hustle, you can actually remedy this situation very easily and make this physical attack into something much greater, even though you are kind of diminishing its accuracy as a result. But its special attack, on the other hand, is only a base 65, which is slightly higher than its physical attack, and Corsola does learn quite a few really good special attacking moves, which allow it to function effectively as a wall or even maybe a special attacker if you were deciding to use it as such. So there is that possibility as well, though keep in mind that Corsola's damage output is typically fairly low. And for the last stat that we're going to talk about, it is Corsola's speed, which is only base 35, meaning that this Pokemon is fairly slow. However, it isn't as slow as Pokemon such as Slowbro and Slowking and things like that, which possess the base 30 speed. So it is going to be a little bit faster than some of the slowest Pokemon are going to be running into. But either way, Corsola doesn't really need a ton of speed anyway, just because as a wall, you're typically going to be being outsped by a lot of other Pokemon anyway. But with that, let's just jump into the first set that I have for you in this video. So for this first set, we're going to begin by giving Corsola a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack. And for the ability, we're going to be going with Regenerator. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into its HP to max that out, 80 into its defense, and 176 into its special defense to give Corsola its best mixed bulk possible. And for the item, we can either go with Light Clay because this set is a dual screening set, or we could be going with Leftovers to allow Corsola to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But for the moves, the first two that we're going to be going with are Light Screen and Reflect, as I said before, because this is a dual screening set. So Light Screen will allow us to put up a screen that will allow our team to take special hits better, and Reflect will allow us to put up a screen to allow our team to take physical hits better. And the great thing about this is that it not only supplements Corsola's great defenses to begin with, but it'll allow Pokemon on your team to take hits much better than they ever were able to before. And with Light Clay up, these screens will last for 8 turns instead of the usual 5, which is a really great bonus to increase the overall bulk of your team as a whole. And the reason why this is so great for Corsola is because of the Regenerator ability. As far as I'm aware, there aren't too many other Light Screen Reflect users that also possess the Regenerator ability, other than Reuniclus, which typically would opt for the Magic Guard ability anyway. So it's really cool that Corsola is able to do this and has quite a unique typing that allows it to do this very differently than any other Pokemon that possibly has these combinations of moves. Also, because of the Regenerator ability, you have a much easier time of running Light Clay than maybe some other Pokemon that use that are typically seen as dual screeners, because you can set up your screens and then switch out and recover a bunch of health in the process. Now, to go along with this, we're going to be running either Stealth Rock or Head Smash in our third move slot. And you might be wondering why I'm running Head Smash even though I'm running a bold nature. The thing is that Head Smash is just ridiculously powerful regardless of what nature you're running on Corsola, and it actually does more damage than Power Gem overall, even if I were to run a special attacking move, just because of Head Smash's immense base power. Also, because of the recoil from Head Smash, it might be a little bit discouraged to be used, but again, Regenerator comes into play there because it'll just recover a lot of that health back. But Stealth Rock could also be really great as well to allow Corsola to be an amazing Pokemon that not only sets up screens for your team, but also sets up hazards to cripple your opponent's team. And then the last move slot, we're going to be running Scald because it is pretty much the go-to water move for any Pokemon that learns it. 30% chance to burn, and that's really great because obviously crippling physical attackers is fantastic, as well as just getting a status on anything if it can be burned. And this allows Corsola to not only take hits really well, but also potentially cripple opponents at the same time, which is really great. So this is why I think a dual screen set for Corsola is really fantastic. I didn't even know that it learned both Reflect and Light Screen until a couple days ago when I was looking a bit more in depth at this Pokemon, and I found that this set is one of the most effective ways to use this thing as a defensive wall, so I suggest you try it out as well. Up next, we're going to begin this set by going with either a Careful nature to increase your special defense but lower your special attack, or a Calm nature to increase your special defense but lower your physical attack. And for the ability, again, we're going to be going with Regenerator. As for the EVs, this time we're going to put 252 into HP to max it out, 4 into defense, and then 252 EVs into special defense to max that stat out as well, to make Corsola as specially bulky as it possibly can be. And for the item, we're going to be going with Leftovers to allow Corsola to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But as for the moves, the first one on this set is going to be Head Smash, and like I did say before, even if you do go with the Calm nature that does lower your physical attack, Head Smash is still going to be doing a considerable amount of damage just because of how ridiculously powerful it is in itself. And if you are worried again about the recoil that you take from that, obviously the Leftovers recovery and the recovery from Regenerator will help deal with that very nicely. But Head Smash is probably going to be your go-to attack on this set more often than not, and allow Corsola to dish out a ton of damage, which is why I do recommend the Careful nature. However, if you do want your Scalds to be doing a little bit more damage, which is the second move on the set, you can opt to go for the Calm nature instead, and because we are running a specially defensive set, Scald is an especially powerful move because it allows us to burn opponents that would be hitting our physical defensive side, which we are not investing into, thus allowing Corsola to take physical and special hits really well if you do get the burn chance to happen. But along with that, we're going to be going with the third move on the set, which is Mirror Coat, which is a great move that Corsola gets to allow it to dish out some special attacking damage back at its opponents who tried to hit it with a special attacking move. And this is especially good on this set as well because we are running a specially defensive set, so we are able to actually take some pretty powerful hits from the special side and KO our opponents in return, as they will often fail to take Corsola down if it is at a good range of health. So for example, you can live Volt Switches from for a variety of electric type attackers and Mirror Coat the Switch-In, which is a common strategy to use as a water type that does get this move, which is really great for Corsola. And it allows it to be a little bit more of an offensive Pokemon in a sense, because even though its attack stats aren't fantastic, it'll still be able to KO Pokemon very effectively because of it dealing damage based on how much it just took from a special attack through the use of this move. And for the last move on this set, we are going to be going with Recover to allow Corsola to recover 50% of its health every single time it goes through this move, which is going to add to the recovery that this Pokemon gets through the Regenerator and the Leftovers item, allowing it to last a very long time in battle and continuously take special hits to potentially Mirror Coat them back at their opponents, or continually go for Head Smash and not have to worry about the recoil that comes with it. Up next, I have a physical attacking set for Corsola to run, so we're going to start this one off by giving Corsola an Adamant nature to increase its physical attack, but lower its special attack, and for the ability, we're going to be going with Hustle to increase Corsola's physical attack by 1 stage, but also at the same time lower the base accuracy of all of its moves to 80%. As for the EVs, we're going to be putting 252 into its HP to max that out, and also max its physical attack with 252 EVs into that, and put the remainder 4 EVs into its special defense to give Corsola the role of a bulky physical attacker. And for the items, the first one that we're going to be running is a wide lens, which increases the accuracy of Corsola's moves by 10%. And this is really great because this works for all of its attacks regardless of when Corsola attacks the opponent, whereas the second suggestion, a zoom lens, only works when Corsola moves after the opponent, though it does increase the accuracy by 20% if you do move after the opponent. So it is a greater accuracy increase, but it is only if you are slower than your opponent, which isn't that hard for Corsola, honestly, because it has such a low speed stat. But one of the moves on this set is a priority move, which would not get the benefit of the zoom lens. So that is something to keep in mind when using the set if you do pick to use the zoom lens over the wide lens. But also for the last option, you can run leftovers to give Corsola a little bit more survivability, with the ability to obviously increase its HP at the end of every turn. As for those moves though, the first one we're going to be running is going to be our main stab rock type attack, which is going to be coming in the form of either Rock Slide or Rock Blast. Now Rock Slide obviously has consistent 75% or 75 base damage, whereas Rock Blast typically will be hitting between either 50 base damage or 125 base damage, depending on if you get 2 or 5 hits of Rock Blast. So technically it is a stronger move more often than Rock Slide is, but Rock Blast could also technically get the 2-hitter, which would make it weaker than Rock Slide, so it is a bit more of a riskier move to use, but it also does get the added bonus of being able to break subs a lot easier and hit the opponent after the substitute is broken. So there is that to keep in mind when picking between these two moves. Rock Tomb unfortunately does not do much for Corsola because it is still really slow, so even if you do manage to lower the speed of an opponent with Rock Tomb, it isn't really going to be faster a lot of the time anyway, and also Rock Tomb has a very low base power. As for some stronger rock type attacks like Stone Edge or Head Smash, Stone Edge is really inaccurate as well as Head Smash because they both have 80% accuracy, and if you are using an 80% accuracy move with the Hustle ability, the accuracy of those moves is actually only 64% accuracy, which is very low and very risky. Now a lot of this can be supplemented with the wide lens or the zoom lens, but you still need to keep in mind that those moves are very unreliable as is, and lowering their accuracy even more makes them quite a bit more risky to use. Also, in the case of Head Smash, you actually feasibly cannot run Head Smash with the second move on the set, which I believe is the most important move of the set, so that is why we can't use that, because Head Smash is a breeding move from a later generation, whereas Sucker Punch is a tutor move from the 4th gen. So that is something to keep in mind. But if you do have access to Sucker Punch, that is an amazing move to use on the set because it allows Corsola to basically nullify its really low speed stat. So Sucker Punch is really great for that. It gives Corsola some priority and allows it to attack things before they're able to hit Corsola. And this is the move where Zoom Lens doesn't apply, because if you are going before your opponent, Sucker Punch or Zoom Lens won't actually, or the benefit of the 20% increase in accuracy from Zoom Lens won't actually come into play there. But for your last two moves, we're going to be using Earthquake or Curse in the third move slot to either give Corsola some more coverage or turn it into a bit of a boosting attacker by increasing its physical attack and physical defense by 1 stage while lowering its speed from Curse, and the last move being Recover to give Corsola some more survivability and allow it to potentially set up a lot easier or just keep its health up through battle, because we potentially aren't running leftovers on the set and we don't have the benefits of the Regenerator ability. But overall, this is a solid physical attacking set. Also important to keep in mind that Curse is able to Sucker Punch is able to nullify the speed drop of Curse because Sucker Punch is a priority move. So do keep that in mind. It allows Corsola to be a very effective boosting attacker with Curse because of the Sucker Punch move. So I would not actually suggest even running a physical attacking Corsola set unless you have access to this move. And for the last set that I have for you in this video, this is going to be a boosting special attacking set for Corsola to run. So we're going to start by giving Corsola a Bold Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its physical attack. And for the ability, we can either go with Natural Cure or Regenerator depending on your preferences. Natural Cure is great because if you do try to get set up and get statused, as soon as you switch out, you'll get rid of that status, which is really great. But Regenerator is really good because it allows Corsola more opportunities to potentially set up, and also just allow it to come in, take a hit, maybe deal some damage, and switch out if you don't feel like you have the opportunity to fully set up in that instance. But for the EVs this time, we're going to be maxing HP with 252 into that, and also maxing our physical defense with 252 into that, with the remainder 4 EVs being placed in its speed stat. And for the item, we're going to be going with leftovers to allow Corsola to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. For the moves, the first one that we're going to use is Calm Mind, which is a move that I think is really unique for Corsola to get, just because its typing is really not the type of typing that would imply that it would be able to learn the Calm Mind move. So I think that's just really cool in itself, but Calm Mind is really great because it'll allow Corsola to boost its special attack and special defense by 1 stage every time it goes for it. And along with that, we're going to be going with Scald as our main water type attacking move on the set. And this is especially useful because as we are boosting our special attack, Scald could potentially burn a physical attacker, making us take hits even better from the physical side than we already are with our max defense from the Bold Nature and 252 EVs into that. So Scald is especially effective on this particular set and allows Corsola to deal good damage while also potentially crippling physical attackers. But to go along with that, we can run a secondary stab attack in Power Gem, or we could run Earth Power for some different coverage. Both of these moves have their merits, so it's really whichever one you feel like you should go with based upon what you think you might be up against in whatever tier you're using this Corsola in, or your own personal preferences, because of Earth Power potentially, having that 10% chance to drop your opponent's special defense. There is that as a possibility as well. But Power Gem obviously is going to be the stronger move because it is stab. And for the last move on the set, we could either use Recover to allow Corsola to recover a bunch of HP as it is trying to set up, or we could make use of Substitute to allow Corsola to get behind a protective barrier to shield it from attacks and statuses while it is attempting to set up. And obviously once you're accumulating a bunch of Calm Mind boosts and potentially burning physical attackers with Scald, your subs will be very difficult to break from both the physical and special side, which is something to keep in mind. So this does help in many instances, but Recover is also really great for allowing you to just keep your HP up as you're in battle instead of having to rely on your opponent to basically not be able to break your sub. So both of these have their merits. You could also feasibly even just get rid of Power Gem and run Rest Sleep Talk if you would like, instead of Substitute and Recover in that last move slot, making it like a Crow Corsola, like the Crow Coon set that has been so common. But I don't think that's as effective on Corsola as it is on some other Pokemon. So I think the double coverage through Scald and Earth Power or Power Gem, and either Recover or Substitute is the better option. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video. So thank you all for watching my Corsola exhibition. I hope to do a lot more of these sets videos in the futures, as you know, because this is kind of the main thing that I do on my channel. But I know I haven't been uploading a lot recently, and I hope to do that a little bit more often in the coming months and things like that. But anyways, everybody, thank you all for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.